All right. I guess I need to get back in the swing of doing this. Really seriously debated on quitting, but had my buddy Joel kind of talk me out of that. So, anyways, we'll try and get back in the swing. Here we go. 1927 Model T. All right. So, 27 Model T Roadster on 32 rails. We started this thing in shop nights, which is kind of an open house, open class type scenario where me and all the buddies and different people that do different kind of car things all come together 2 nights a month and share information. If people want to come learn how to weld, we'll teach them how to weld. If they're interested in mechanical, we kind of do that. But we kind of put this thing together and really kind of threw it together. I really was just, this is actually the first car that I've ever done in shop nights, and I've been doing shop nights for a lot of years at my shop. And then before that, I did it at my buddy Dwayne's shop. It is something we've been doing for, man, I want to say 8 years. I've never done something that belonged to me. Just because I didn't want to hear the naysayers and the people that like to throw negativity toward you. But anyways, so we just kind of threw it together, really, to be honest with you. Down and dirty hot rod. I really didn't care about making it too finished, too neat and clean. I was really just gonna put it together, rattle can this and that's, and probably run the body as is for now, and then maybe fix it up a little bit later. But since then, as you can see, it's going to be a flathead powered car, and that is a good motor, but we've worked a deal for probably one of the nicest flathead motors I think I've ever seen, and it'll definitely be the prettiest thing that I ever owned. So with the working of the fancy flathead motor with all the bells and whistles, me and Greg worked a deal for these super sweet wheels that are no longer in production. So that means some things. One is 5 on 5.5 is how I was setting it up. I wanted it super old world. Drum brakes front and rear, dropped axle. I bobbed the 32 rails and pinched them, and I pinched them pretty tight. I've actually never seen anybody pinch them so tight to where the motor mounts set dead on top of the frame rail. I'm sure it's been done before. All things have been done before, but so I wanted to pinch them super tight up front, and then we put a 40 model X member in it with the 3-bolt master cylinder, and decided we were going to use a 5-speed, even though I'm not a big fan of 5-speeds. But that conversion bell housing there was set up for the original style flathead clutch. So it'll be 5-speed still, just with a fancier motor and all the bells and whistles. Then you come to the back, again, down and dirty, nothing really fancy. 40 model X member, and then I split the wishbones and was going to do a banjo rear end, which I was completely fine with. But as you may or may not know, the banjos didn't have a whole lot of gear sets, and if you know me, you know that I'm gonna drive it, and most likely on the interstate. I drive about 90 miles a day on the interstate, about 45 here, 45 back home. So I needed to keep up with traffic, and rush hour traffic is what I need to keep up with. So with the new wheels, which are 5 on 4.5 bolt pattern, not the 5 on 5.5 bolt pattern, it came with some, all right, maybe I need to change the rear end. Well, this is a 1953 Mercury rear end. My kid Michael and me came here yesterday and worked. I did some motor mount endeavor. You can see this cleaned up. I got a little bit more cleaning up to do, but it just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with it because I just kind of threw some chopped off 40 model Ford mounts in there. So I came in and cleaned those up, and Michael pulled in out of a 53. So I believe that is the rear end that we're going to go with, is the 1953 Mercury rear end. There's a bunch of information out there. I'm not dead positive what the gear set is. I'm going to try and figure that out today. One of the things that did strike me as odd is the yoke on the front of the rear end is not something that I've seen before. So luckily all the parts for this thing are readily available. So we'll get the mounts chopped off of it. Never seen those before either. We'll get those chopped off, and then I'll rework it to my split wishbones and to the buggy spring rear end. Get rid of the banjo, even though I really like banjos. Get rid of that. Have a little bit taller gear in the back, which is going to be better for interstate speeds. Flathead motors, you know, they don't run just a massive amount of. So in an attempt to be able to do highway speeds and get the RPMs as low as possible, we are doing a 5-speed with a little bit later model rear end. I'm going to try and get that in there, and of course now we're going to go super crazy and try and finish it and make it a nice car. So you can see the dirt ball mount that I worked out, just throwing something in shop nights. And now we got that, which I'm good with that. It's got a 40 model box on it. I wanted to do it very traditional, so I didn't box the frame rails. I just put an X member in it, and yeah, now we're gonna make it a nice and finished hot rod, which, you know, I've really, to be honest with you, never owned anything super nice. Everything's always just been kind of what I could make happen with what I had. So that's going to be it. And with that being said, shop nights will be starting again at the beginning of December. We do those the first and third Saturday of every month. Now December is going to be a little bit weird because of course there's a holiday and we have some scheduling issues. So definitely we'll be doing it the third Saturday in December, which is just before Christmas. The first Saturday falls on a bad day, so definitely check it out the third Saturday. And then every month all the way up until April, we'll do the first and third Saturday of every month shop nights. And we are not going to be building on the T model. We are actually going to be doing a cab over that's not here yet. So cab over, probably going to make it relatively short. We might chop it. Doing a chassis swap. It'll get a Cummins. We're doing that for our buddy Mr. Javier. So anyways, check it out, keep up, and I'll try and keep more current on this later.